Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Danik Boy. Today on the program, Babachir, Ribadu and Buhari's in-law petition Oshomole, the man's sack of Adamawa Exco. President Buhari outraged as Boko Haram kills nurse, threatens to murder Leah Sharibu, and later on the show, federal government declares flooding a national disaster in 4 states. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Oditoju, Kolawole Johnson, and Olayinka Oyepile. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, let's also start today's edition on a lighter and celebration mood. Your award-winning program, Journalist Hangout, continues to gather more laurels. Just on Monday, your darling show won the most interactive and educative television program of the Year award by the Cornell Media Consult Awards. The organizers, CMC Gladiators Africa Awards 2018, presented the award at TVC's headquarters in Lagos. Let's give you the gist.
This is from CMC Merit Award presented to Journalist Hangout as the most interactive and educative program of the year 2018 in recognition of your remarkable contribution to the better society and being a voice for the voiceless. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much.
Please keep the good job going.
Thank you.
Because Nigerians are actually loving what you are doing. Nigerians are looking up to you for a better society. The hope of Africans is in your hand. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
How do we get our winners? We have an agency that go to the streets, talk to people, which is the best program that is so educative, so interactive, that people love the program. And out of about 360 nominees that we had, they now scaled the whole thing down to 50. Journalist Hangout was the best. Everybody talk about the program, that the program is so educative. People love the program because it talk about what is actually happening in the country.
We are grateful to all our guests. We are grateful to the producers, the backroom boys who make it happen every day. The best of Journalist Hangout has not been seen. We are approaching an election year, and we will continue to do our best to help those in power to run the country in a better way. There's so much that needs to change about our country, and with the thing that it's a privileged position that we find ourselves to be able to speak truth to power, to be able to encourage those in government to work harder for the Nigerian people. And as long as we remain non-aligned, as long as we retain the courage to speak the truth, I'm sure that this program will continue to go places, and all and sundry will take us seriously.
And definitely the program will continue to go places. Congratulations to you and the team and to our guests as well, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your contributions so far. You want to say more?
We thank God for the privilege. The good thing about this award is the fact that it was taken to the streets. So apologies to NICE. It then means that
Street credibility.
Journalist Hangout has street credibility. You know, Alapo Meji, I said it. And there's nothing as good as people enjoying what you do. There's nothing as bad as a cause without the support of the people. So the people support us, and we intend to continue to work hard.
Yes, to deliver more. Well, let's get down to the business of the day. When a storm rages in a teacup, then there can be little hope for the content as well as the cup itself. The crisis rocking the camp of the All Progressives Congress APC in Adamawa State is getting to boiling point. Something drastic is required to avert explosion in the party, and some APC gladiators in the state have answer to that. Party chieftains like the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, former EFCC chairman, and presidential aspirant Nuhu Ribadu, and a new kid on the block, Mahmoud Ahmad, an in-law to the president, Muhammadu Buhari, have petitioned APC national chairman Adams Oshomole. They have, amongst other requests, demanded the sack of Adamawa APC exco. Now, there are three gubernatorial candidates vying for that seat, and now 138 executives of the party from the state to the ward endorsed Bindo. Jide, what really is going on in Adamawa?
Yeah, we've been talking about Adamawa for months. The joke that is going on in Adamawa State in the name of congresses, ward congresses, and primaries. We've talked about it for some time. When Bindo, the governor, was desperate to install an ESCO in the state that is loyal to him, he shut out other stakeholders and ensured that they were not part of the decision making, of choosing the leaders of the party in the state. And you remember that Babachir Lawal even raised an alarm that what we have today, that you called Congress, is just a joke. And in the end, they had parallel Congress in Adamawa State. What the leadership of the APC promised them at the time was that the party will look at what transpired and take the right decision. In the end, some of the aggrieved members left to form the ADC. People like Senator Abdulaziz Muritala and Yako, because from the beginning, Governor Bindo shut out all the big people in the party. The structures of the party, the structures that helped him to win the primaries of the APC at that time, defeating Atiku's candidate twice, and then going on to win the election. Those structures belong to Baba Memongoro, the former governor of the state, Muritala and Yako. But he began to fight them as soon as he became governor. And knowing that they would choose their own time to deal with him, he set out to frustrate those people out of the party so that he can literally own the APC in Adamawa State. Now, after what the sham that they called primaries, we've now seen the APC leadership said, okay, if you must do indirect primaries, all stakeholders must be involved. All candidates in the election must be involved. You must hold a meeting where that resolution has to be agreed with everyone. But that's not what we are seeing.
Yes.
Because a situation in which other people are in the governor's position, like the in-law, the president's in-law, he even went, after he got his nomination form, he took a picture with the president, meaning that he meant business. The former EFCC chairman, Nuhu Ribadu, has been working for years to become governor of the state. He also has an interest. But you shut out these people, and when the governor now had this event where he declared that he will contest, clearly, because the masses are not with him, there was a low turnout at his event at the Badu Square. Then he moved from there, from the Badu Square, to the secretariat of the party, where the leadership that he had installed, Bilal,
Yes.
and other stooges that he had installed, now said, okay, what is happening now is that he is the sole candidate of the party. We do not know about
Any other?
Halilu. We do not know about No Ribadu. And then, to take the joke further, the governor now said, okay, all the National Assembly members from Adamawa who accompanied me to the declaration, the House of Assembly members who accompanied me to the declaration, today I pronounce them as I give them automatic ticket. Where is that done? Where is that done? People have paid for forms, and this is what you do to them.
Perhaps is the governor afraid of something?
I already told you, if he knew it was popular, he would not be scared. If you see a governor running from pillar to post that he doesn't want direct primaries, it's because he knows that it's not popular with the party, the generality of the party members. Right. Because a governor shouldn't be scared of any form of primaries. But Bindo knows that he has offended many people, and he knows that they will wait for him. The day of reckoning is always, always there. When you offend people, you treat people shabbily, they will wait. They will wait to exact revenge. That is what is that possibility of people exacting revenge that he does not want to see. So he wants to ensure that nobody challenges him. He becomes the sole a candidate of the party. And now these guys are saying, okay, let the leadership of the APC even expel the SEC in Adamawa State because they've gone completely against the directive of the party. So that is what they are. Yes, that was the petition is about.
All right, let's bring Yinka in now to this matter. A joke like Jide has called it, but then this has somewhat tampered with the process of internal democracy of the party, and there are penalties. Is the petition being given to the National Working Committee the way to go by these aggrieved members?
Well, in a very lawful society, that is the best way to go. You don't take laws into your hand. But it becomes problematic if nothing is done by the national executive to address the grievances they've expressed. Because from the outline Jide has given, it is very, very clear that the governor doesn't want the primary to hold at all. And a politician, the best way to test your popularity is to allow everyone to vote. And if you know that you have been shortchanging your constituents in one way or the other, either by performance or maybe you climb the ladder, you use the ladder to get up, and when you are there, you throw away the ladder, forgetting that one day you will need to come down through the ladder again. Are you going to jump? And when you jump, you are going to wound yourself. What the Ribadu people have done is to call on the national executive at the federal level to take a look into their grievances. And for me, I think that is the best way to go. You don't take the law into your hands. You approach the National Executive Council. Let the National Executive Council, thank God, the National Executive Council that is there now responds quickly to issues. The way they respond to it or how they address it is another matter. But at least they have an executive now that is responsive. It is not unlike what they had before when the national executive goes to sleep and allows the problem to fester before they act. I believe that the current executive will take a very dispassionate look at what has happened. If three or four people are complaining against one person, then definitely those three people can never be wrong. In the look of it, the three people that are even complaining may not even agree among themselves. But if they can agree with the complaint, that means there's a problem. Even the former secretary to the federation has complained. So the national executive needs to look critically at this issue if they don't want it to blow in their face.
All right. Now, how do you how do you see the national executive addressing this issue? Because according to the party's constitution, whoever tampers with the processes of internal democracy of the party is liable to expulsion from the party and prosecuted.
You will be shocked if I tell you that the chairman may be guilty of this.
How do you mean?
All right. The State Executive Council you have there now came in via internal democracy. If he tampers with it, what happens? The first mistake they made was accepting the ESCO that they put together. I don't know why they wake up today to start crying before the primary election, when you know before now that the ESCO, that they were not duly constituted. If the chairman should go ahead to either dissolve the ESCO. Now, what is the backlash effect of that? Are you looking at that? How about other states who are shouting? Are you also going to dissolve them? We've seen just one state dissolved thus far, Kwara State, and that was because all the stakeholders agreed. Why? Those, or the major stakeholders, those who populated the ESCO, were no longer in the party. It was easy to dissolve the party. To dissolve the ESCO. But now it is very, very difficult. However, the party also set a booby trap for itself. When you had your NWC and your NEC, you've sold direct primaries to Nigerians. Why didn't you just stay on that? Why would you choose one for the president and another for others? You knew that the congresses across the country, largely were faulted by stakeholders. So why would you subject your party? And you knew that the only way to save the party was basically to go through direct primaries, where people who had camped their own loyalists into the party ESCO would not have the field day. But you did not do that. You left them to their own fate and said, okay, each state can choose what they want. And remember, they said something. See, for me, I look at the logics. The minute of the meeting that they held stated clearly that where the state chairman agreed that the party ESCO must sit down. In Adamawa State, if the state party ESCO should sit down and said they want direct primaries, they have also fulfilled what the NEC told them to do. For me, I think...
So are you saying there is no case in this issue?
See, the first case is that you have shut out a large number of people that can, that can affect the party negatively in that state. Forget it, whether Northeast is a strong zone for the president. Nothing remained the same for too long in the public space, in the political environment. Things can change. Inactions, actions determine what happens next. There's a very strong case on ground, and I think the party must handle this with a lot of care.
So what is the implication? You talked about implication earlier. What would be the implication?
No. You quoted the Constitution.
Yes.
That whoever should tamper with internal democracy will be expelled. And I said that if the chairman had agreed before now that the ESCO put in place in Adamawa State, that they were duly constituted, if he tampers with them, he's guilty of this. So the first mistake they made was to have agreed to the ESCO when other stakeholders were arguing against it. As a matter of fact, you had a former governor that even installed Bindo. He moved out of the party because of this. And you still left other stakeholders to their fate, wandering around. That was a very gross error on the part of the National ESCO. But now, what should they do?
Yes, that's where I'm going to, and that's the question for Jide, because this issue has to be resolved. How do they move forward from here? How do they solve this matter?
First and foremost, it is wrong to blame the current leadership of the APC for what has happened, because those congresses were not conducted by, were not overseen by Osomole.
Yeah.
He is himself a product of the convention of the party.
Yeah.
The convention was the culmination of
All
All
this.
of
Oh, yeah.
these were things that happened under
The former
Oyegun.
chairman.
Oyegun.
The people conducted the primaries in Adamawa that effectively shut out those that the governor sees as threats. It was from Abuja that they were sent by the Oyegun-led leadership to do that. It was the same thing that happened in Adamawa State. But the difference is that the court resolved quickly the impasse in Adamawa, in Imo State.
Imo.
In this case, it is also not true that the emergence of Bilal-led ESCO was not challenged. That case is in court, Adamawa High Court. The court dismissed the case and they've gone on appeal. So it's not as if they sat back, they were happy with the emergence of an ESCO put together in crooked fashion. So the truth is, if they go ahead now, they must do something about this. Otherwise, the party should be ready for an implosion. Already many people have left the APC, the APC in Adamawa to form the ADC. Yeah. In fact, if you see the collection of forms, will show clearly that so many people have left for the ADC because there was real competition for ADC forms in Adamawa State. That's a pointer. So if they allow this to continue, then things can only get worse. The constitution, the party was right in saying, look, decide what is best, because the constitution of the party allows for consensus, allows for direct, and allows for indirect. So it will be irresponsible of the party to say, no, everybody must do direct, because they will point at the constitution that permits them to also yes. So what they now said is, okay, we direct primaries, this is what we want. But where you cannot do direct primaries, there has to be unanimity. Everyone must agree. And Oshomole said, if some of the stakeholders, if some of the people contesting say they do not agree with your consensus agreement or your indirect resolution to go for indirect, then we will have no choice to cancel the process and then organize direct primaries. That is the situation that's the situation that we have on ground. And I'm confident that if Oshomole will live up to his reputation, that is what he will do in Adamawa State. No governor is a god. Although in Nigeria, some governors behave like God with the small letter G. They do not, what governors do in Nigeria is not done anywhere else, where you start treating your subjects like you created them. No. They now say, oh no, this one can't go to the National Assembly this time. I'm bringing this one. Yeah. If you want to do that, politics is an inclusive sport. Get people to agree with you. So if you can't get people to agree with you and you are taking decisions single-handedly, then you want to destroy the party. And the fate that befalls those who want to, usually befalls those who want to destroy a party, is the fate that should be visited on such governors, because nobody can be greater than the party.
Now, while I'm not countering that, let us differentiate between consensus and indirect primaries. In the case of consensus, all the aspirants involved must agree.
Yeah.
If one says no, you go for primaries. But in the case of indirect primaries, what the party said, they did not say, or the chairman did not say that everybody must agree. In specific, he said the state ESCO and the stakeholders of the party must sign to the agreement that they want to use indirect primaries. Now, there was no...
Is that what
that's not
has
what
happened in
happening.
Adamawa?
That's not what is happening.
No. I'm coming. In Adamawa State, see, you know, what I'm trying to drive out here is that the National ESCO gave the power of decision to the state ESCO. And as long as...
It also said all stakeholders. Go back and read this thing very well. Let me tell you.
All is not the stakeholders.
You
all
said
is
all
not the
stakeholders.
all is not the
all
stakeholders.
So who are the stakeholders?
Who are the stakeholders?
It was
All
clear.
is not there.
No,
Who
anybody
you
contesting.
are not all.
If you are contesting in the election, you are a stakeholder.
Exactly.
And he made this clear. He said, if you go for this format, and other contestants
Even
say
if
they
it
do
is
not
one
agree,
single,
so that you do not cheat those contestants by the method that you have opted for, then we will go for direct primary, because the direct primary is the most democratic of all, is the most transparent of all. So at the end of the day, because some governors are saying, look, our states are not safe.
It's not some governors, all of them.
No, not all of them.
All
Not all
of
of them.
them.
It's on record that some governors opted for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Look at Niger State, for example. The Niger State governor from the beginning, he said, we are going for direct.
Yeah.
The Kano State governor from the beginning, he said, we are going for direct. So you can't say all governors.
Now let me nip it here.
Okay.
If a governor had seen that I am not safe by indirect, by
Direct
primaries, he chooses indirect.
Yes.
If he sees that he is not safe by indirect primaries, he chooses direct. See, safety,
Which one? Who is that
relative.
governor who will not be safe?
Safety is
Who is the
relative.
governor who will not be safe
What
by...
is democracy?
Who is the governor that will not be safe by indirect?
In some states, ESCOs were shared among the stakeholders. In some states, that did not happen. So in states where you see the governor saying, I want direct primaries, perhaps the indirect was not, it's not as sure as the direct.
All right, let me...
It's a game.
All right, Yinka, quickly. Now, stemming from what Jide has said, do you see the National Working Committee handing out the necessary sanctions?
When is the primary supposed to take? When is the primary supposed to take place? This time next week. It's supposed to be. So between now and next week, what decisions are they going to take that will not tell badly on the party? Because look, if care is not taken, this is what is going to scatter the party. And the idea of saying, okay, we are using direct here or indirect there is they don't want it to be a one size fits all. That you go home. We have always been saying that the federal is always dictating what happens in the state and so on, as if we are under a military regime. They now gave you an option that, okay, go home and choose the one that fits for you. And now, chaos is ensuing. So
the danger that I see,
if
the party leadership does not take action, the courts
we
can invariably take action, and the action that the courts take may not even favor the party at the end of the day.
That is the problem.
You saw what happened in Imo. Immediately, Oshiomhole said, now the courts have intervened, so the process we are cancelling. And they started afresh. How can you have a situation in which even a governor did not know where Congress was taking place?
I just said that here.
Right.
You know, it's what favors each governor that he goes for.
All right, now let's move forward. Still to come, President Buhari outraged as Boko Haram kills nurse, threatens to murder Leah Sharibu. Stay with us. Well, terrorists are notorious for striking terror and instilling fear in the minds of people and governments. However, that the resurgent Boko Haram insurgents in Nigeria's northeast are maiming the populace is not the issue, but the seeming helplessness and hopelessness of the situation. Even the President and Commander-in-Chief, Muhammadu Buhari, is enraged by their latest carnage. The Boko Haram terrorists murdered Seifura Husseini Ahmed Kosa, a humanitarian nurse with Red Cross, 6 months after her abduction at Ran IDP camp in Borno State. President Buhari condemned the killing of Seifura, describing it as an act of barbarism. They have equally threatened to kill the lone Dapchi schoolgirl still in their hands, Leah Sharibu, and we urge government and troops not to let this happen. Jide, a message written in blood because the government did not pay attention to them at the time they wanted it to. Now, this is a group that we talked about technically defeating and we had degraded. Should they still be threatening the government in this way?
No, I think the issue of whether Boko Haram has been technically defeated is resolved in the hearts of lovers of the truth. And I don't think we should bother ourselves by whatever anyone chooses to call the current situation. It is clear that the group is resurgent, the group is mopping up arms. That is why they are attacking military formations. Everywhere they attack a military formation, except where they are overwhelmed. like the last time when they went to Damasak, shortly after their last attack on Udumbura, they were overwhelmed in Damasak, so they couldn't steal army weapons. But in the ambushes that they conducted in Bama, they took away 2 army trucks. The commander of the Operation Lafia Adole admitted it, that they took away 2 of our trucks, you know. Then the other attack in Gili, 24 hours later in Yobe State, they stole army weapons and all that. So they appear to be preparing for a big carnage. And nobody can tell exactly what's in their minds. But going on, attacking army formations and stealing weapons suggests that they are up to something really sinister. And what it then means is that, yes, the killing of the leader of the group, because it is the Albanawi faction that is carrying out these killings, they've killed their leader, the man who was the real leader of the group, Mama Anud. It was Mama Anud that defected from Shekau's camp. He's an old man, a politician in Borno State before he joined Boko Haram. So he's also the one with the heart to negotiate. Now, the greatest fear I have is that after the killing of someone who appeared like a father figure, like Mama Nur, the young Musab al-Banawi, who is just about 26, almost 27 years now, will be very ruthless. We are seeing signs that they want to start behaving like the other group. Because why would you execute an innocent woman? Remember on the day they launched the attack in Iran, they also killed a male worker, a male health worker. Yes. You know, we showed what did they do? They were trying to help people in distress. And then you are taking their lives. So we have to intensify our efforts to crush Boko Haram, because that is the only way we can keep our people safe. And for now, that the army is always in defensive position, we have to change tactics. We have to go to where they are. We know where they are.
Does the military have the firepower to really do that?
They have to concentrate. Look, if we want to crush them, let's mobilize our firepower. Where they are, we should just go to where they are and deal a decisive blow. We all know that the Abanawi group is occupying communities in along the Lake Chad, in the Lake Chad Islands. They know. I even listed some of the towns that they are.
So how about the civilian casualties that will be along those lines?
No, the thing is, with the army, usually when the army wants to launch one of these attacks, they give an early warning. And those who can leave will leave. But to say that because there will be civilian casualties, we should not go and exterminate these people, I don't think it makes sense, because in all wars, there is always collateral damage. Civilians will die. Not because you deliberately want to kill civilians. There are some of them that they will use as human shield. But the war must go on. In Syria, civilians have died. But you can see that the Syrian war is gradually coming to an end. In Iraq, when ISIS took over more than three quarters of Iraq, we all thought that, ISIS had come to stay. But today, there is not one town in the whole of Iraq that ISIS is occupying. Civilians died. It's a price to pay. But at the end of the day, we must secure victory. The good thing is that the area that Musab al-Banawi's faction occupies is a smaller area than even the area that Shekau occupies. So let's concentrate energy, finish these guys off in the Lake Chad Islands where they are, so that our people can be protected. This is taking this too far now, to be killing innocent women. And it's also threatening to kill yes. All because they want the government to come and pay hefty ransom. And it appears that we are slowing down about that, because every time we pay ransom to them, they get the money to go and buy weapons.
Yes.
which they will turn on our soldiers. So they are frustrated now because in that note, they are saying, oh, that the government has refused to listen to them. Listen to them means the government has refused to bow to their demands. Not that the government has refused to talk to them. This government has always negotiated for the release of hostages.
Now that's the part we need to establish, because some persons believe that the government stopped negotiating with them. That is why they are saying that the government didn't listen to them.
We can give instances of people that government negotiated with. Look at those wives of police officers that were arrested in Damboa. Yeah. They were going for a party, and they were abducted. They released them. The UNIMED lecturers and health workers who were also abducted during an attack on the army. Yeah. The army was taking them to the site. And then they killed more than 18 soldiers and took away some of the people. We negotiated and we got those lecturers freed. So it's not like this government does not negotiate. We have proof that they've negotiated and successfully released abductees. But maybe now these guys have taken it to a notch higher, and the government thinks, look, this is not in our best interest for now.
All right, because another question that has, been ringing in the minds of some Nigerians is what kind of negotiation took place such that it was Leah that was left behind? And then to the president's statement strongly condemning the killing and asking Nigeria's international partners and everyone with influence to prevail on the terrorists, does it mean that this war is getting out of our control?
Well, in every thing that happens like this, you don't want to say that you can deal with it all alone. You call for help from everywhere help can come. And in this situation, what has happened now is that the Boko Haram has gone beyond the red line. In every war situation... When you say red
line, how do you mean?
I'm coming to that. In every war situation, you don't kill women, you don't kill children, you don't kill old people.
Aged.
And this one, to make matters worse, she's not only a woman, but
caregiver.
A caregiver. I mean, it shows that what they have done is they have dared the state. This is not just an ordinary displaced person. So a caregiver has been taken and killed. What they have done is that if we do this, we know the government will take us seriously. But the government at this point, that is why it is being internationalized, had to call on other people, other world agencies to come to our aid. Because if this is not, you know what will happen, God forbid, that they carry out the threat about Leah. You know what it means in such a society as ours. How many girls were kidnapped? She was the only one that was retained. And because of her faith, which some people are already playing on. So, I mean, everything that needs to be done to make sure this does not happen again needs to be done. We should not allow them, in every kind of situation like you keep on negotiating and also keep on planning your own strategies. Because if you fail to negotiate, these people have no qualms. It's like a thief. If a thief steals a 1 million naira worth of good from you and sells it for 100,000, he has lost nothing. He has lost nothing. So this one, the negotiations must continue, and government must make sure it does its best to make sure that they don't carry this out. And the terrorists, they also know that if they dare do anything that is untoward, when they are caught, it will be grievous. So they also might be using...
I don't think they think about the repercussion of their actions.
Because, I mean,
they can't be bothered.
That guy is 26. His reasoning is different from yours.
Well,
2, he does not even, in fact, I don't think he even knows the rules of engagement in wars like this.
wars like
and
this.
don't forget that this is not a parallel war. This is an asymmetric war where killers are hiding behind the people. Anyway,
Yeah, you can go ahead. But then let me come to you now. What are the implications? This is a caregiver that works with the ICRC. And you know how they were actually helping us with the IDPs in the north.
Even with negotiations.
And even with negotiations. Now, the implication of this, especially in our relationship with these organizations.
I think dwelling less on the relationship is these guys, the effrontery these days is something else. You want to start asking some basic questions. He just outlined how they are running down our military barracks, not just invading and emptying the armory. These guys are even taking over military base.
Yes.
Gudumali,
Yeah.
Kukawa, Garumba. So, let me give you probably some information that you may not even find in the public space. Last week, Wednesday, 31 officers were killed in Baga. That was not in the news. Quote me. One officer and 30 soldiers. They call them 30 by 1. Soldiers are losing the zeal to fight. Today, you get to the army headquarters. There are thousands of letters of resignation. Soldiers are putting down papers to leave the army. But they will not sign because if this number should leave, who will be left there? You should ask your question that if people are leaving, what should be the problem?
Why are they leaving?
Yeah, why is it that they just get our guys? See, our military guys, they are not. We used to know them to be heroes. They go to Liberia, to places, and they took awards. They are good. So what is going on?
That was why I asked
I think
earlier.
fatigue is beginning
Is
to
it
set
fatigue?
in.
If
Now,
they have the
let me
firepower
spot
to
it.
Put
do
people
that.
Let me
in the same
spot it.
spot
For
Yes.
years.
For years.
Remember
You don't
that
change
officer
that.
that killed his colleagues
Yes.
in
Yes.
Adamawa State.
Yes.
We discovered that he had been there for 4 years.
For 4 years, you don't change
He
that.
becomes homesick. He's missing his wife, missing probably his children. At that point, the morale, nothing brings down the morale more than that.
Yeah.
In America and other places,
They
they
have-
reshuffle
Yeah.
them frequently so that
Yes, I was
before you become homesick and lose the zeal to fight. Because
fight
even
on.
in Afghanistan, we saw an American soldier, he just took a gun
And
and
was
was shooting his colleagues.
Yeah.
Before he gets to that point, then you need to do something about it. The setbacks that we are suffering in the war in the last few weeks, can only be compared to what was happening in 2013 and 2014.
Yeah.
You
At
know?
the height of
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In 2013 and 2014, when soldiers will refuse to fight, some soldiers will take to their heels.
Yeah.
In this case, Boko Haram will attack a military base with more than 3 times the number of officers and men
That
at the
we have.
location.
Yeah.
You don't expect them to fight.
But-
in
but-
Are you
Gudumbali,
aware?
in Gudumbali,
Are you aware?
in Gudumbali,
Are you aware?
they refused to fight. They left.
No, not that they refuse to
But the
fight.
authorities can
Let
say
me
they are
tell
not
you
aware of
something.
these things.
Let me tell
So
you
why are they
something.
not
Let me tell you
addressing it?
something. Have we asked ourselves
Did they fight in
how they are
Gudumbali?
treating these soldiers? No,
Because no
Yeah, that's
life was
another-
lost.
yeah.
Have we asked how they are treating them? Do they pay them allowances? Let me give you a very typical scenario. You have soldiers in the same place, in the same base, then Air Force officers. The Air Force officers are being paid 150,000 naira monthly for their feeding. The soldiers are not being paid a penny for feeding. They cook for them. What food? Bread in the morning,
Beans
in
or
the afternoon.
something.
No, and in the night, concussion. The same food every time. And you say these guys would not, will have the zeal to fight.
Now, I asked
Number
the
two,
question, is
when
it
they-
that the
when they
authorities
die,
are not
when they
aware
die,
of all of these conditions and
they are
are not
aware.
addressing it?
The authorities are even contributing to it. Do you know why? Today, if a soldier dies, do you know that the federal government may likely, for example, approve like 4 million naira to be given to the family? At the end of the day, that's what, the family may not get more than 300,000 naira. Do this investigation or no? I'm telling you the real fact here. Now, how do you want them to fight when they know that if I die And even if the federal government gives my family, approves
So
4 million for my
much.
family, they will not get
So
more than
little gets to
300,000
them.
naira.
The issue is not
authorities are
simply that they are
contributing
not
to it.
fighting. You see, when you say, how do you want them to fight?
I'm
The
not saying
soldiers are fighting.
Yeah.
We are saying the issue is, the morale, yes, is a problem.
Aha.
It's not that people don't want to fight or people are not fighting. They are fighting and they are still recording great successes on the war front.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that because we do not have good enough intels about the movement of the enemy comes in, attacks us like a flood. It gets to the location, he has sufficient intel, sufficient intel about the number of soldiers at a location. He goes there with 3 times
the number.
With the same kind of weapons that you are carrying. That's why a lot of the attacks in the past, Boko Haram used to attack in the night. But the attacks these days
Broad
are
daylight.
like 4 p.m., 6 p.m. latest. You know? So because they know, they look at the number of people that they have, and they are coming with gun trucks with machine guns mounted on them. Sometimes it is the anti-aircraft batteries that they come with. They are firing anti-aircraft guns at human beings, something that's meant to bring down an aircraft. How many soldiers will have the heart to watch, to be fired at by an AA? There's no such soldier. And once they establish that strength in number, honestly, it makes sense for soldiers to vacate the location so that they can fight another day. We've seen instances where it happened, not because they do not want to fight or they refuse to fight. No, because that is the sensible thing to do. You are overwhelmed thoroughly.
Fight and run away.
Yes, and then you can come back. When there is reinforcement, you can go back, take back your barrack, inflict a defeat on the enemy. So for me, if we get the sufficient weaponry, because if you talk to soldiers now, we do not have sufficient weaponry to battle the enemy. If we have, I was talking about even Sudan. Sudan has more than 70 ground attack helicopters. Even when you get to the airport in N'Djamena, you see like 30 on ground at the airport. Now that we know that we have an enemy that is proving stubborn to defeat, we have to invest heavily in the equipment. The equipment
time
will
is of
give us.
essence.
Yes, I know that it takes time. It takes time, but we have to do it. We have to begin to do it.
Made.
That's
I
What
bought
has happened
I
to
bought
all
the money.
Monies
See,
we have.
accountability.
That's
Accountability
what
is
is our
where
essence.
I am bringing out here.
Yeah.
When they distribute fresh Hilux vehicles to this, okay, why is it that you get to war front, you see soldiers pushing Hilux vehicles? When they give out these vehicles, a lot of them stay at the army headquarters they are playing around with. Why they give,
The
give them?
No, Hilux vehicles, please, let's get something right. The Borno State terrain, the texture of the soil
makes it easy for
that's why Boko Haram is usually more active in the rainy season. You can't move freely. The kind of vehicles that will move freely in that terrain, they are not Hilux. So
then why are they not?
They are not
bought?
Hilux. So that's
Why
what I'm
are
saying.
the ones-
Invest in the right weaponry.
That is
Armored
necessary.
vehicles. There are some armored vehicles that will move freely in that.
Those
Not
terrain.
But they know
Hilux. They will
all
be
these
stuck in
things.
the mud.
They know all these things. Why are we not buying them?
Those
that's
boys
the
know.
question
Those
I
boys
asked.
also know. Those boys fighting us.
Yes.
They know what the problems are. Why was it that in the dry season they were not killing people like this?
So
Because
why
they know
is
that
it?
in the wet season, our mobility gets hampered.
So why is it
and
that
at
we
that time,
know
because
that
the
and we
mobility
need
is
to
hampered.
do something about
Addressing
it?
those issues.
Why
These
we
are
not
the
That is what we are
I
telling
just
them,
said
that
so here.
These are
invest
the
in
issues
the
that
right
must be addressed.
equipment. Because it's not simply let's invest in the right equipment. When we had T-72 Russian tanks,
Yes.
even the T-72 Russian tank that Jonathan bought from the Ukrainians,
Yes.
it gave us a very big edge. Just before the election, we were able to push these guys out of the communities that they occupied. In Adamawa State alone, they were occupying 7 local governments. In Borno State, out of 27 local governments, they were occupying 17. And we pushed them out of all those local governments before the election because the T-72 Russian tanks made the difference. The T-72 Russian tank can actually lock on a target at 2,000 meters away.
So these are the things
Now,
that should be reproduced.
These are the kind of, you know, when we brought them in,
Yes.
because it was a kind of ad hoc arrangement,
Yes.
we didn't have the trained personnel
to mount them.
to be able to service them and all that, because we just needed them because elections were coming and all that, and America will not sell weapons to us. America will not let us even buy from people that we want to buy from, you know. So, but right now, go and ask about the state of the T-72 Russian tank, because servicing is an issue.
Quickly, we need to take this call. We need to quickly take this call. Bello from Kebbi, go ahead with your contribution, please.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, just a question for all of you, please. Just a question. Yes. What is the way forward? Now we are discussing only problems. What is the way out? That's all my question.
That's why I said let's invest in the right equipment.
Bello, are you done?
For me,
it's finished.
accountability of investment at all
One
times.
after the other, please.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Let's invest in the right equipment. If we invest in the right equipment, we will have the edge. We do not have enough equipment to prosecute a war, this kind of war decisively. Don't forget that these soldiers are stretched. You are deploying them to Benue, to Zamfara, to all these places. They need equipment. It stretches the men and even the equipment at their disposal.
Yeah.
So now we know that we have a war.
Right.
We must spend more money on the army, on equipment,
Right.
especially because equipment is what will give us the edge over the enemy.
Call up quickly.
For me, the right equipment and accountability for whatsoever we invest in this process. This is one ministry that you do not audit. There's no due process. We keep sinking billions of dollars there each time. And the question is, if we don't have the right equipment yet, so the money we keep sinking, where is the money? Where is the money going to? Then I please want to appeal. The soldiers are human beings. Let us take care of them.
Yinka,
Now, why is it that in other climes, soldiers are ready to die for their country? There was an incident in 2005. I was in Atlanta airport, and I saw almost everyone at the airport, old and young, they all stood up. What happened? They were all welcoming young Americans who went to Iraq and came back. Those people felt very proud, and the citizens are proud of them. Are we proud of our own soldiers? Have we been allowed, or are they treated in such a way that they will be proud of what they are doing? People who join the military today don't join because they want to fight, or they want to fight for the country. It's because they think it's a sure job, sort of. But now with this, so what we need now is for the military to sit down and rewrite its ethics and its service to their men. When a soldier dies, in 2-3 months, they eject the family from the barracks. And then the family has nowhere to go. Nobody bothers about their education and so on. Is that a soldier, would that encourage anyone to want to die for the country? No.
There are all kinds of issues. Even the strategy of the war, the strategy, we have to look at the strategy.
They have to think
of prosecuting all kinds of issues.
Them very, very
men are strategists. I mean, give us that.
So why are we not having it implemented?
You just mentioned it, the morale of the guys and the right equipment.
All right, gentlemen, I must thank you for your thoughts and views on the topics we have dealt with today. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Veronica Danik Boy. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.